A very good morning to all of you children and welcome to the channel Awesome Learning. And today's topic is importance of bryophytes. We have studied the life cycle of bryophytes in the previous video. Now we are going to study about the various important and importance of bryophytes. So some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals and birds. Herbaceous mammals are those that are plant eaters. Species of sphagnum, that is a moss. It provides peat. Now you know there are various types of coal: anthracite, bitumen, peat. So peat is a kind which is derived from a moss, that is sphagnum. It is used as a fuel. Now, as I told you, it is a type of coal. So, of course, it is used as a fuel. It has water holding capacity, so that used as packing material for transshipment of living material. That is, if we want to transport some living material, something, some organisms or something, or some new cells are to be transported from one part of the country or a world to the other, then we use this peat as the packing material, because they have a very good water holding capacity, and keeping those living material moist must be the requirement. So that is why we use this as a packing material. Okay, this is sphagnum peat, and this is the plant which gets converted into peat. Next, children, see, they are ecologically important because of their role in plant successions, that is on bare rocks and soils. Now this you will be studying where properly in class 12, but let me tell you a brief idea. Children, we have seen that many parts of the terrestrial area, that is the land, earlier they were desert, but now today it has become a very good greenery. Or earlier there was a pond, but now the pond has vanished and it has, that area has been converted into a land, and it contains lot of plants on it. So this is what is succession. That is a bare rock or a bare soil or a bare part of the land gets converted into dense forest or grassland. So when this happens, when this process is going on, the first plant or the first plants that can come on the rocks and the soils after alga are bryophytes. So they are of great importance, because these are the ones which can convert a bare rock or a bare soil or a bare piece of land into a very good dense mat of sea. This was earlier primary succession. That means it has started primarily the first step. Now after everything has been transformed, it looks like this. So a pond can be converted into a land area. So this, in this process, bryophytes play a very big role. This we will be doing in class 12 also. Since mosses form dense mats, as you see here, dense mats on the soil, they can prevent soil erosion. Very good. We know that if there are no plants on the soil, then the upper layer or the top soil can be taken away by the wind or water. And we also know that topsoil is very important and very good for the plants. So these mosses fix into the soil, and they help in preventing soil erosion. Now children, here we will also study about the types of bryophytes. There are two types of bryophytes, liverworts and mosses. As you see the difference in the diagram, let's elaborate them. First category is liverworts. They grow usually in moist, shady habitats such as banks of streams, marshy grounds, damp soil, bark of trees, and deep in the woods. Okay, their plant body is thalloid. We have also seen this when we were studying the general characteristics of bryophytes. The plant body is thalloid, as in Markensia. Thallus is dorsoventral and closely appressed to the substrate. Now what do you mean by this? thallus is dorsoventral, means dorsiventral is the upper side and the front side and the back side. So dorsiventral, and it is suppressed to the substrate. Okay, that means if you pick it up, you can see both the sides of the thallus, that is the dorsal side and the ventral side. The leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages. Leaf-like, because I told you that bryophytes also do not have true root, stem or leaves. So they have leaf-like appendages in two rows on the stem-like structures. Okay. As you see, this is the thallus. These are the gamma cups, gamete, where gametes are present. See, so reproduction in liverots, how does the reproduction take place? First one is asexual, by fragmentation of the thalli. That means a thalli can break, and then the two individual or the broken thalli can behave as the new individuals, or by the formation of gamma. As you see here, they can reproduce. Gamma are green, multicellular, asexual buds that develop in small receptacles or gamma cups. These are the gamma cups, and inside these gamma cups you have gamma, okay, on the thalli. The gamma are detached. This will get detached from the parent body, and wherever they will fall, they can germinate into a new individual. So this is also a part of asexual reproduction, because no fusion of gametes or male and female gametes has taken place. So this is again a type of asexual reproduction. Now they also show sexual reproduction. Male and female sex organs are produced on the same or different thalli. That means either the same thalli can have both the sex organs, or there will be male thalli will be different, female thalli will be different, and they will have their individual sex organs, and this gametes will be produced in those sex organs. This we have studied when we were doing the general characteristics or general reproduction in bryophytes. So this was the thalli and the antheridial head, and here antheridias, and the sperms were produced here. Similarly, archegonial head, archegonia, and inside them eggs are produced. Now we have also studied the life cycle, that sporophyte, it has two parts. The life cycle of bryophytes is divided into two parts. One is the gametophyte, which is the main plant body, and the other one is the sporophyte. We have seen that sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. As let me show you here. This is foot, seta, and this is the capsule. This is a sporophyte. Okay, foot, seta, and capsule. So let's see. These spores, after meiosis, the spores are, because sporophyte है ना, sporophyte has developed, तो sporophyte के अंदर meiosis होंगे, and the spore, because you know ना, let me again show you, because I don't know whether you remember from the previous video this was done. So let me again tell you this, children. This is gametophyte, this is the main plant body, and the gametophyte is haploid. It is haploid. Now after the fusion of the gametes, zygote is formed, and that zygote develops into sporophyte. Now when zygote is 2n, क्योंकि fusion हो गया, तो 2n बन गया zygote diploid, and that zygote develops into sporophyte. So that means this sporophyte is also diploid. Sporophyte is also 2n diploid. Now this sporophyte will produce spores, लेकिन spores तो haploid होते हैं. तो डिप्लॉयड स्पोरोफाइट से अगर स्पोर्स बनेंगे तो कैसे बनेंगे, तो इनके बीच भी पहले एक डिवीजन होगी, दैट इज कॉल्ड मियोसिस. सो द स्पोरोफाइट विल अंडरगो मियोसिस and it will give rise to spores. Okay, so now I hope you must have related the topic, that after the sporophyte is diploid, and when the sporophyte is diploid, the sporophyte has to produce spores. So to produce spores, it will undergo a division called meiosis, that is reductional division, and hence the spores are produced which are haploid within the capsule. The spores are produced within the capsule. Now when the capsule will fill, it will swell up It will burst open, and the spores, wherever they will fall, they will germinate, and again they will give rise to free living gametophyte. And again the gametophyte is haploid, that is N. Okay. Second type of bryophyte is mosses. Their predominant stage of life cycle of a moss is again gametophyte. It consists of two stages. First stage is protonema stage, second stage is leafy stage. Now let's see the two stages. Children, protonema stage. It develops directly from a spore. Now as I just told you that sporophyte will undergo meiosis and they will make spores in the capsule. The spores, wherever they will fall, they will give rise to a new gametophyte. So that new gametophyte in the case of moss is protonema, the first stage that will develop directly from a spore. It is creeping, that is, it won't stand straight. It is green, it is branched and frequently filamentous stage. I hope you have understood. Again, children, I am repeating that the sporophyte of moss is diploid. It will undergo meiosis to give rise to haploid spores. It will undergo meiosis to give rise to haploid spores, and the haploid spores, wherever they will form, I am only talking about the mosses. So wherever they will fall, they will give rise to a new gametophyte. Now here in mosses, the gametophyte has two stages. One is the protonema and the other is the leafy stage. So first stage that will be formed from the spore is protonema, which is creeping, green, branched and frequently filamentous. Then comes the leafy stage. It develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud. That is, from this protonema, a small bud will be formed and that will get converted into the leafy stage. They consist of upright, that is straight, slender axis, bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soils through multicellular and branched rhizoids, as you see here. Rhizoids will be there, and this stage bears the sex organs. So these are the stages which will bear the sex organ. So this is something like this. You can see the protonema stage and then an erect stage, that is the leafy stage. So the all this is under the category of gametophytes. So the gametophyte of moss has two stages. Then we come to the vegetative reproduction of mosses by fragmentation and budding. Very simple. Again, you know what is fragmentation, splitting of the organism into two, excuse me, and budding. A bud will be formed, and that bud, when it will get detached, it will give rise to a new plant. Then comes the sexual reproduction. As we have studied in bryophytes, sexual reproduction has two main parts, antheridia and archegonia, and they are produced at the apex of the leafy shoots. After fertilization, zygote develops to a sporophyte, having again same structures are there, foot, seta and capsule. The sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than in liverots. Capsule will contain spores, same जैसे उसमें भी capsule जो था that will be filled with the spores. और spores कैसे बनेंगे? They will be formed after the division called meiosis, and mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. That means how will the spores get dispersed? उसका थोड़ा सा technique elaborated different है. That means it shows that mosses are little bit advanced than liverots, but दोनों ही एक ही category के अंडर आते हैं, that is bryophytes. And these are the various examples of mosses, as you see, Funaria, sphagnum, and children, one more thing, you should remember that it's better if you write down your notes in a tabular form so that you can compare all the stages and you can make out the difference. याद रखो बच्चों की हमेशा opposites जल्दी याद होते हैं, meanings देर से याद होते हैं. So it's better if you try to write down your notes in tabulated form so that you can remember things easily. So here I'm finished with bryophytes.